Now in Pawn Stars, it actually is a real pawn shop, but there also is a team of writers who heavily influence how everything on the TV show plays out, and that has in turn made Pawn Stars lose a lot of viewers. And we're going to get into some of those reasons in today's video, but before we do, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to our channel. Now everything that comes into the pawn shop is definitely known, at least when the show is being filmed. Now when it's operating as a regular business, this is not always the case. Now as I mentioned earlier, there are show writers who need to make sure that the show stays popular. Now part of this process is making sure interesting things are brought into the pawn shop to be featured on the show. If the writers left it up to pure luck, hoping that something cool comes into the door to make things more interesting, then the show actually wouldn't be as sustainable. Now perhaps at this point, people may have to travel to come to the pawn shop, and there's something very interesting in hopes of making an appearance on the show, but if you truly have something fascinating, you gotta really get into contact with the producers and the writers of the shows to make an appointment. At least that's what they tell us. Now let's talk about rooting. I think due to all of this, with them being now incredibly successful financially, the whole rooting for a small pawn shop storyline that fans were a part of is no longer sustainable. By this I mean that in the early days that came off as some average guys that say some occasionally funny statements while seeing some heated arguments during deals. But fast forward to today, and the cast members are certainly millionaires and have even demonstrated their wealth. Chumlee and Big Hoss especially. Not to say that prior to the show they were doing poorly, that's really not the case, but they're definitely doing much better right now, which can deflate the relatability. It's hard as a viewer to see yourself in their shoes compared to the early days, so to say. On the show, at least, they do still have the spark of their group dynamic. They all work very well off of each other in terms of witty remarks and going back and forth. But yeah, just when someone becomes a millionaire, it's a little harder to be like, hey, I can see that guy on the street and probably become friends with him. I've also been having that kind of underdog storyline of wanting to see them do great, but well, that no longer exists. And so I hope that they're just doing incredibly well. Now the cast members of the show Pawn Stars do not actually work at the store. Now part of the things why is that things are set up in advance, and it's also because they do not film year round. There is a set filming schedule, and 15 season ends over the span of nearly 9 years. The show is incredibly well known, and the main four guys, Rick Harrison, Richard Oldman Harrison, Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and Austin Chumlee Russell are very frequently recognized. Now especially in the city of Las Vegas, where their store is and where they live. Now I'm saying all this because they no longer work at the actual pawn shop. They only come in to film the episodes, but besides that, they never work any other shifts. This is actually for a few reasons. Due to the success of the show, they are wealthy at this point, and they have no financial need to work regular shifts. Secondly, when they appear in the store, it's guaranteed to disrupt business, as it is a legitimate pawn shop when they're not filming. Now they actually have an entire section of the store dedicated to merchandise of the store's last show. They will also set up a place there to take photos and sign autographs with fans when they do visit, but this is also because it's illegal to take pictures while transactions such as that takes place in the pawn shop. It's also against Nevada law. So in order to not break the law, they can't have this be an actual pawn shop while they're filming. So your chances of appearing on the show by just coming in someday is actually not really going to happen. Now unfortunately, once again, there is actual business happening even on the show technically, but everything is heavily vetted in advance to ensure that it is truly entertaining. And that's it for today's video on the reasons why Pawn Stars is losing a boatload of viewers. We hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel again if you are a new viewer, and we'll see you next time.